Okay. All right. We're live with Tony Dinino, a blast from the past. Tony.
How you doing, Brian?
All right. So we just had a couple hour conversation that we want to share. And Tony and I go way back. How many years ago do you think it was we were training together?
Oh man, it has to be at least 25 or so. Would you say? Does that sound about right?
5, almost 30, probably.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, yeah. I met you when I was like in my 20s. I was a kid.
Yeah. So the reason I'm doing these interviews is a guy like Tony, middle-aged guy, 51 years old. I'm 56, and we're just proving it to guys out there, whether you're in shape or not, or was and trying to get back, that it's possible to actually slow down the aging process. And I'm interviewing old buddies like him, and I'm glad I'm getting to reconnect that. Just showing it's possible. He's going to share some of his experiences, stories. And this is all centered around the Physical Male Project. So it's spelled not like this, but the regular Physical Male Project. If you're listening to this or you pass this along and share this with somebody, just like us on that Facebook page. There's a closed group, private group for members only, but then there's general basic information where we still kind of teach what or introduce you what that whole thing is. So Tony, man, you look incredible on this show. Let me share some photos. This is from a couple of years ago. Tony got in shape, and he's going to explain the story a little bit to you. But there's somewhere. Let me find it. Here, his Instagram. I love this picture right here. All these are incredible. Here's how old are you here?
That's actually when I came back in 2017. So it was about 49 right there. So
What's your height and weight?
I'm like about 5'6", and I'm actually under 200 pounds. So I hold about anywhere from 195 to 198. I fluctuate. So
he actually is. I mean, when you're lean, I'm not trying to create bodybuilders out of you guys. It's really meant for the middle-aged guy who's maybe had a lot of success in his career and just really did not pay attention to the physical part. You sacrificed that, and now you're paying the price. You're overweight, you're looking old, you're worn out, your sex drive sucks, you're probably on 3 or 4 or 5 different medications, and the doctor said you got to lose some weight. Or it could be the reverse. You're on top, life experience is 3 at the bottom, and you can come back out, but you're looking for some help, some guidance of people that know how to do this shit and have been there and walked in your shoes. So tell us a little bit about how you maintain this, all these years of doing this, man. I mean, tell me what your routine looks like for the day, as far as not so much working out, but you were married, you have kids, you got a job, you got responsibilities, you got everything going on like everybody else does. How do you do this shit? How do you maintain this at 51 years old?
I mean, I'm not married anymore. I'm divorced, so I focus a little bit more on me. But that's actually just a lesson learned in life. But the main thing for me is we talked briefly about it. For me, the gym to me is my therapy. That is one place I can go for that hour to hour and a half and just focus on me and get away from everything. The gym to me too is also something that could carry on to other things in your life. Whatever you're going through, it's always nice to kind of get through a workout and not think about it and just feel better about yourself and apply yourself. Even like when I'm doing cardio in the morning, it's one of the things where there's so many thoughts that kind of go through my brain and process just to kind of set up my day for success too. Now, Brian, we talked about this too. Obviously, this isn't easy. It's hard work. You got to put the work in, especially when you're older. And if you're not willing to do that or have that mindset, you're not going to get the results you kind of want to get. But again, having someone that can coach you or help you or get you through it, not only the working out and the training and the diet part of it, but just the values in life to help you change, to me, is huge. I was fortunate enough, and I told Brian this, back in the day when we trained together, I learned so much from him because we were just doing it. It wasn't like he was coaching me. It wasn't like he was doing my diet. I just kind of followed what he was kind of doing and adapted, and Brian was being Brian and made me successful. at becoming a bodybuilder. I learned all he would say is you got to pay your dues, got to pay your dues. And at the time I was like, screw you, pay your dues. I just want to be big. You know, I didn't understand that, but now I understand that now, because nothing in life comes easy. You have to put the work in.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but you know what? You're doing it smart now. It becomes routine. You touched
Right.
upon the mental aspect. It's like your therapy. I say this
Right.
too. The working out, and again, guys, don't misunderstand. You do not have to be a bodybuilder. If you're 250 pounds and you're 5'10" and you need to get down 200, that's what it's about. Making you healthy. If you want to take it to another level, great. But you cannot lose the hope just because, fuck, you're over 50. It's like you got to throw in a towel. Bullshit.
Right.
I'm 56. He's 51. I'm in the second half, and you know what? I had some bumps and bruises coming through the first half. Did pretty damn good. But man, I learned a lot, and I'm more valuable to people right now. And I've got so much freaking energy and stuff to take and win this second half. And I'm not going to age like everybody else, and I'm already proven it. So I'm just sharing it with you guys that there's hope. You don't give up at 40. Stop talking like you're freaking old at 40 years old.
Absolutely.
It's a bunch of bullshit. You've been programmed that way. So this is a living example right here, Tony. So you put yourself first. We talked about that earlier.
Right. Absolutely.
Where you sacrifice everything for your family. I get that. And there's guys out there doing that.
Right.
But you know what? You're more valuable if your shit's taken care of, mentally, physically, everything. And then you can be of more value to other people. So you're eating, you're training, your cardio. How many times a week do you do cardio? And again, this is not about just nutrition and exercise, guys. This is more mental than anything. I'm just giving you an introduction of what we do.
Right.
How many cardio days? How many weight training days? What's your meals look like? Do you ever eat shit food? Do you ever drink a beer?
Yeah, so the cardio I actually do every day, and I gotta explain to you kind of why too. Again, I'm older, heart disease runs in my family, and I feel better. I'm able to accomplish my workouts a hell of a lot better if I'm in shape. I'm not a big believer in if you do cardio, you're gonna lose muscle. I think that's a bunch of crap, but that's just my 2 cents. It makes me feel better. I train harder, and just my sense of well-being. I told Brian basically what I do is I get up every morning about 4 a.m., take a leak, and then jump on the treadmill for at least 35 minutes to 40 minutes. And that's the start of my day. From that point on is when, I have my meals with me. I go through work, and then after work, I go to gym, sometimes train people. Then it starts all over again. I get people, like I told Brian all the time, like, how the hell do you do this? What motivates you? It's gone to the point before where now it's just routine. To me, it's just like making my bed. And the one thing I think you got to understand too is, the work you put in is the work you get out, and it's the thing that makes me happy. Just going to the gym, getting a workout in, I feel better myself. Competing was fun and things like that too, but that was more like a job. Now I can have fun with it, so I can go out on the weekend, like Brian said, and have a piece of pizza. I don't drink; that's just not my thing. But I can have a cheat meal and just bounce right back. It's that sense of well-being, and again, this, you got to understand, carries over to everything else in your life. If you're feeling good about yourself and you're making progress and you're making things, you're going to be successful in everything else, whether that's your wife, your kid, your job, whatever you do, people you meet, because you're going to feel amazing because you're changing you. And the cool thing is you're doing it. I mean, you can have a coach or you can have a trainer or whatever, but what it comes down to is you're having the balls or the guts to do it. And there's nothing like that in the whole world. When, you have somewhere where you've came from down here and now you're up here and you did it yourself and accomplished it. That's the kind of things that is just huge. And I think something like this is great because, again, I've never had any like this. There wasn't people that I could reach out to. I just kind of tapped it into myself. But again, I was a little bit of a different breed because I had people like Brian and people that I've got involved in bodybuilding that I was able to learn it, But I didn't have anyone like that when I was competing that, hey, what's keeping me motivated? What do I got to eat? You just kind of figured it out. Now I'm to the point where I kind of know what works with me. And again, it makes me happy. I don't think about it. It's like routine. And I won't stop because it's kind of what I do. And it just makes me feel, in general, a hell of a lot better. And again, you don't have to be a bodybuilder. You just got the big word we were talking about this is you have to try. If you don't try, you're never going to know. And then if you try and you fail, you learn from it. You dust yourself off and you try again. It's just kind of how it works, no matter what you want to do. I mean, it's just routine. It's not rocket science. It's not brain stuff. You know, it's something that you just apply yourself and you do it, and how you become successful in life. That's my take on it.
This is valuable information, guys. We don't, when we say we're mentioning bodybuilding a little bit, and Tony's referring back to the training that bodybuilding helped him to get through the tough times in life,
Right.
staying in shape, the discipline. So some of you guys that are watching this, I'm talking to, you're hugely successful financially. You have the discipline, you have the mindset, you know what to do. But now the physical part, not everybody knows this. We just, this is what we do. So there's more to regaining your health back, which you can get back. You apply the same principles and thinking and philosophy and work ethic to that. So it all depends on what you're experiencing right now. If it's a painful point in your life right now where maybe you suffered a mild stroke or heart attack, or you're about to, you're at high risk because you're 40, 50 pounds overweight or whatever, it should scare the living shit out of you, because guys your age are dropping off like this, and it's our lifestyle. So when we go back to the bodybuilding lifestyle Tony's talking about, this is the proper way to eat that we never been taught. Nobody teaches this shit. You just grow up watching whoever, or what the marketing, the advertising that sucks you in, the convenience that they got us like freaking little lab rats pinned down. They know our behaviors, how we're going to act, where we're going to stop, what we're going to do, how they're going to influence us with the marketing, the advertising, whatever. You're so freaking programmed. You got to stop that bullshit, because I see too many guys dying way too early.
Right.
What the fuck did you do this whole thing in life to become successful for, and you can't even enjoy the shit right now? The physical therapy and balance centers that I'm associated with here, I see people coming in there every single day, and not making fun by no means. Their bodies are wrecked because they did not take care of themselves. And it could have been avoided. The shit and the way we're living our life and how you fall into how everybody else is doing it, that shit's got to stop if you want it to. This is the example. Tony, me, quality of life. Tony, on any medications at all?
No, I'm not on no medications. And Brian, you hit on it too. I think the thing is it's like, you know, we've talked about this. It's never too late. Just trying and taking that first step, whether it's walking on a treadmill or cleaning up your diet, or logging in and seeing these videos, is huge, because it's going to have that impact, and you're taking that shot or that chance to change your body and change your life. You know, it's just taking that first step. And Brian's right. We are programmed with Weight Watchers, Nutrisystems, all the kind of things that are out there. The promise in a bottle that's going to get you to look like this. It just comes down to one thing. It's not rocket science. It's hard work. You put the work in, it's going to pay off and happen from there. But I want you to understand too, it's never too late. You can make an impact. No, you don't have to be a competitive bodybuilder or look like a pro football player or a runner or swimmer, but you can change your body and feel better about yourself. You may not have that physique that you think that you can have, but if you're able to walk up a flight of steps or go on vacation with your wife and kids and walk around Disney World, that's huge, man. Or your clothes fit different. Just, again, for me too, just a sense of well-being of exercising. The start of my day and the end of my day just carries over in everything else in life, you know, and that's huge. There's more mental than anything, and it's just taking that first step.
Yep. So basically, guys, you can reverse the aging process. You're gonna put the brakes on it and reverse it to some degree. When we start dumping quality nutrients in food, and macros and micronutrients like vitamins and minerals are meant to repair our bodies. And what we've done, and why we preserved ourselves, because we adopted that lifestyle. We didn't get into it to be looking good at a later age. We got it because of the vanity and all the bullshit, get chicks and whatever, ego. But now it's turned out to be our advantage. It's like, shit. And then there's guys out there that want this, but you got to know where to get it. And like Tony said, Nutrisystems or whatever, Weight Watchers, or whatever. Let's take it even further. Let's go the intermittent fasting thing.
Right.
And it works to a degree. The keto's the Atkins diet. That's all it is. You got to know what to do. You get sucked in by these things that are temporary fixes, solutions. You know, Tony also touched on it too. The physical male project is more about nutrition and exercise are way down on the list when we start coaching and training people. It's the mental more than anything is where it really starts. I can't shift you into changing behaviors if this is all messed up. But there's mental weight training is what I'm talking about there. So we could go on and on forever, but it's just a support group. And the more we talk tonight, Tony, it's more men have issues like women that they don't want to talk about.
Right.
And this is a private group that you want to better yourself in life. You're getting in shape and your health for other reasons. It's not just, hey, I want to lose weight, for freaking reasons. And there's some stress and shit you've gone through in life, because I've been there. None of us are immune to it, but we've overcome it. But we need to be in an environment. Tony nailed it when we were talking earlier. He changed his freaking environment and the people he was around, because he was getting sucked the fuck down,
right,
to a really low point.
Right.
And this is my mission, is to change this. So I'm not making bodybuilders out of you guys. It's change your freaking life to be the person, the quality, and live it, the quality, and influence people, whatever your calling is in life. But I have to bring examples like him on here to go, I don't know about you, Tony, but at 60, I'm going to even be better than this.
Absolutely.
I refuse to even think about getting older.
Right.
And then my body and my mind is programmed to find the answers to do that. And that's why I'm able to coach guys now at this age versus when I was 25 or 35. I know basic diet and exercise did it, but my body has changed through the decades, and I have to learn how to change with that.
Right.
So how do you plan on looking at 70? I don't know about you, but I'm like, I ain't gonna be average 70-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, what's neat about the whole working out thing is actually you get, I believe, big believer, you get better with age, because your muscle gets more mature from a bodybuilder standpoint, and you can definitely improve and get your body better, and look as good as, like you said, someone in their 20s, 30s, if you get in good enough shape, and it's just basically about applying yourself too. Another thing I want to hit on real quick too is, and I've talked about this too, is, the gym is my therapy. There's nothing like, you have something tragic in your life. I told you guys I was divorced. When I got divorced, I got in the best shape of my life. And I wasn't even trying. I wasn't watching macros. I was doing what I was doing. But the pain of that made me get in shape. That was my release at the gym, that I worked that hard because I was so consumed in what I was doing. I got in phenomenal shape. And people were just like, what the hell are you doing? Wow. Are you doing a show? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm actually going through a rough time. Like, wow, you don't look like you're going through a rough time. You look phenomenal. But that drove me to do it. That was kind of my motivation. And it's unfortunate that it happened like that, but that's what worked and what happened to me again. But again, going to the gym, again, is my release. And it's when you're having a bad day or you have something on your mind, there's nothing like having a great workout. And that could be just doing cardio or going for a walk in a park. With me and Brian were talking about that, just having that time for yourself as a guy. I really feel you need that. It could be as simple as walking your dog or playing ball with your kid. I mean, those are the little things that I feel like, nowadays we neglect. You're on your phone, you're on the computer, social media, or you're in front of TV. Those are the little things I feel that, you need to kind of make yourself better, balance your life. Am I right, Brian?
Absolutely. As you're talking, another thing came to mind too, and I'm just trying to keep an eye on time zone. I want to kind of keep this relatively short. And there's a guy we were found, an acquaintance, but my wife saw something come up on the news feed on Facebook, and I had talked to him in our facility in the gym, at physical. He's getting therapy, and he's 50 years old. I mean, he's overweight, but he's on 14 different medications. But this is like common shit, man. It's like you're 50. At 50, even now, I feel, we were talking earlier, I feel like when we were training back in our 20s. I don't feel old. I talked to another lady on 12 medications the other day. So he's in the hospital right now. We had the conversation about how important it was to change his life and why, and the kids and the whole reasons why, but he really wasn't telling himself the truth. He was saying it, but there was no real action. And now, I mean, he's close to death, man. It's like, it's tragic. And you guys, and even ladies that are listening out there that you want to share this with a friend or a male or husband or whatever, a boyfriend, your 50-year-old is on 3 different medications. That's considered freaking normal in our society today. I've never been on medications. Tony hasn't been on medications. Yeah. It's the quality of life that we're living. So, people are like, oh, yeah, I spend all the time in the gym. No, I don't. Right. It's a freaking hour and a half, 5 days a week. When you know what you're doing, you don't have to. I'm not a fucking gym rat anymore. But that's sad when the average is that. The average we shouldn't be on this shit. But it's our choices in life. So there is hope, guys. You can get this shit back. It's really easier than you think, but don't fall for the bullshit out there. Easy. We talked about this too. Yep. It's hard work. You got to put in the work. Yep. But it's easy when you have the right path.
Right.
If you're being deceived and they're selling you a bunch of bullshit, and I'll say this right out here publicly: those doctor-ass program diet, give you freaking shots, B12 shot, amphetamine, starvation. Oh, I want to use some words that just are inappropriate. Son of a bitches are ruining people's health, but it's a quick fix. You lose 30 pounds, 30 days. It's the worst freaking thing you would ever want to do. And how many times do you see that, Tony? It's over and over, and it's just a little money-making machine. So I'm saying is, don't fall for that bullshit. Get some proper coaching and guidance. Those doctors should be put in jail for the shit that they do to people just for money. Anyways, I don't want to go on that rant because I will get really freaking nasty.
No, I get it. I mean, it just comes down to, Brian, like we talked to about a lifestyle. And once you choose that lifestyle, again, it's not that you can't have a life. I told you, and I'm sure you do this too, I go out and have a piece of pizza or a cheat meal and everything. I just don't overdo it, and I stay on track, but that's quality of life, and I enjoy it now. I can enjoy myself and still stay on top of my game. And like you said, once you're in it and once you're kind of on a program, it just becomes kind of like second nature. You don't even think about it. I don't dread going to gym. I don't dread getting on a treadmill. I just do it. Is there days I don't want to do it? Absolutely. But I feel 10 times better after I do it. And that's what boosts my motivation to keep doing it. And honestly, too, once you're in shape, too, there's nothing like, going to a high school reunion or seeing a couple of buddies of yours or someone that sees you, or you meet someone and they're like, wow, man, you must really work out or really go to the gym. What are you doing? And you just kind of do what you always do. But it's the starting point, and it's the point of staying on track and just going there. And something like this with this kind of group, obviously, we're going to keep you going and keep you on that path, which is huge because, anything that kind of like life throws at you, you're going to be able to bounce back and get through it. And again, it all kind of, we talked about this, Brian, you could hit on it, how it all connects and it's like one big circle, how everything ties in together.
Yeah, this is powerful, man. I've been following Tony when we haven't talked in years, but just Instagram and his post, and he's been through some real shit. We all have.
Right.
And, but if our bodies were not in the shape and we weren't feeding it and doing what we do, it would have been even worse. We might, we could die that easy, that quick. Unless you don't give a shit about dying. I mean, maybe this talk isn't for you, but most people do. So it's simple, guys. So you're starting to see more examples of people like Tony that I'm interviewing, of old college buddies and old training partners. And we got a couple more to interview this weekend that we're all in our 50s. And I'm closer to 60 now than I am 50. And I'm not bragging. I'm just like, it's possible. The human body is amazing at what it can do if you allow it. But I want you to see more and more examples that this is not a hard lifestyle. And all these guys are successful at what they do. They can do both. So you look amazing, buddy.
I appreciate it, Brian.
Together now we talk in the future here.
Yeah, I would love to definitely come back and talk a little bit more, and we're definitely on the same path. And the one thing we've talked about: don't let anyone influence you and say you're too old. I hear that all the time. Hey, you'll see when you get a little bit older, muscle's gonna turn into fat and all that horse shit and everything else. It just motivates me more.
I was told that all my life.
Yeah.
Here I am, like I'm not even afraid to say it, pushed at 60. I'm like, shit, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be better. They told me that all my life. Muscle's going to turn to fat. First of all, muscle doesn't turn to fat.
Right.
Second of all, you're not me. And I'll figure the shit out.
Right.
Now, those guys who don't have time to figure it out, follow somebody who does figure it out. And those of you out there who understand and know who Tony Robbins is go find somebody who's doing what you want and then follow and do and model what they do. That simple. And God, I could talk forever and I can't do this. So this is a topic that's it's free to take, guys. It's like to make yourself whoever you want physically, mentally, avoiding a lot of disease and cancer and bullshit. That you just need a little knowledge. That's all. So join our free Facebook group, Physical, PHYCICL Male Project. There's a public group and there's a private group. And then Tony, I want you to be participating in both groups and just giving motivation, because I mean that's what you do on your Instagram all the time anyway. So not a better teacher than you, man. You live it every day, and it's not hard, guys.
Right. So. Right. Hey, Brian. One more thing. I think we should talk about too, because I mean this is a topic that I always get, and I'm sure you probably get too. Is and I'm just gonna go here with it too. Is people see me, and I'm sure they see you, and I go, oh, well, that's steroids and that's drugs. I want to be first to come out and say that it isn't steroids and it isn't drugs. I've been doing this for years, like Brian, to get to kind of where I'm at. With weight training and resistance training, it's like anything. The more you do it, the more you improve. It's not about some pill or some steroid or some growth hormone or anything like that. Because I've had people come up to me and say, well, sure, I could look like you if I did this cycle and did that drug. And it's not about that at all, guys, being honest with you. I'm under 200 pounds. I don't have acne on my back. I don't look like a football player. I'm lean. I just stay in shape. And you can attribute it to, Brian, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but I don't want that to steer people away to think that it's some magic drug or some kind of steroid.
No, we battled this all our lives just because of what we're into, the automatic assumption, but the steroids are this much of the whole entire thing, even if you are taking them and competing. You know how many freaking athletes, including women, that are on steroids, especially Olympians, that the public doesn't know, okay? So just because you got a little bit of muscle doesn't mean you're automatically doing that. So it's the foundational stuff. It's intense training, meaning intense, not where you're killing yourself, screaming, yelling, dropping weights, putting a force against the muscle so it allows it to respond, and then food support to build it back, because you're actually tearing the muscle down and you build it back stronger. But a lot of guys go in the gym, and again, if you want to get big, that's one thing. We're teaching you to keep your muscle mass because you're aging. At mid-20s, you start to lose muscle mass. And muscle is what gives you mobility. That's why we're not going to be walking like we need canes and wheelchairs when we're older, because we're keeping our structure supported with the muscle. And we keep the muscle by the training and the food to support it. So if you go in and train and don't support it with food, you're not going to be any muscle. This applies to women too. So I don't know, anybody listen to this, I don't want to assume that people already know this stuff. Yes, there are a lot to do. And just because you read a few things doesn't mean you're an expert at it too, because there is a little bit of a science involved in this. So yeah, when I hear that shit, it's like, really? You don't do the shit I do to maintain this. So again, I don't want to be a job, guys. It's precision training. So good point, Tom.
Yeah, I just like I said, just want to throw it out there too. And then, like Brian said too, I feel 90% of it too is nutrition. You're turning your body into basically a well-oiled machine, and you feed it good food, it's going to perform. That's the hardest part, because Oreos and crap food tastes good, and you want to keep eating it. It's like a drug. But if you're able to get that control and balance throughout your life, and not that you can't have it every once in a while, but you just balance that, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I'm going to leave on this note too, is a lot of times the cravings are caused from other things. There's hormonal issues and imbalances going on with aging. but also the food choices, the stress on your body. And even if you don't think you're stressed out, you are. We'd have to have that conversation. That causes the stress is a stress hormone that in our society today, our bodies are always in fight mode, whether you like it or not, or believe it or not. We're always fucking on the go. And that stress hormone will fuck with your insulin levels, so it's going to cause you to crave. So as much as you want to stay on a diet, you can't because your body's still under stress. And that's a conversation that if we can have. Anybody wants to set up a consultation with me, just hit me up on wherever I'm posting this and say, hey, I need a 20 minutes, half hour of your time. Let's talk. I'm serious. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'll figure it out for you. Love my guest here, man. It was cool hooking up. So we got to do this more often.
Absolutely. Like I said, I look forward to coming back.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you,
Let's stay in
Brian.
touch. I'll talk to you next week. Is that cool?
Yep, sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.